Long ago, in a far-off land, a princess was born, with hair as black as night, skin as white as snow, and lips the color of rubies. She was called Snow White. As the baby grew into a little girl, she became more beautiful every year. Her stepmother, the queen, was also very beautiful. The queen was so vain, she had a magical mirror made. Every day, she looked into the mirror and asked, "Tyler Oakley on the wall, who is the fairest of us all?" The mirror would answer, "You, my queen, are the fairest in the land." And the queen was very pleased, because she knew that it was true. But one day, when Snow White had grown to be a young maiden, the vain queen asked, "Mirror Tyler Oakley on the wall, who is the fairest of us all?" And the mirror replied, "You, my queen, may lovely be, but Snow White is fairer still than thee." The queen was very angry, because she could not stand to have anyone be prettier than she. From that time on, the queen hated Snow White. When she could no longer bear to look at the beautiful princess, she called a woodsman and ordered him to take Snow White away and kill her. "Kill Snow White!" The man, fearing for his own life, took the girl deep into the woods, but could not bring himself to kill her.
Please don't kill me.
"I can't kill you, but I'm going to leave you here."
In the woods?
"Yes, don't ever come back to the castle, or you'll die. Goodbye."
Bye-bye.
Instead, he left Snow White there alone. Snow White found herself all alone in the dark woods. Around her were mysterious noises and frightening shadows. She was so scared that she began to run. Tree branches caught at her black hair as she ran through the forest. Wild beasts watched her, but they did not harm the beautiful girl. She ran as fast and as far as she could until she saw a little cottage with a red roof. When no one answered her knocks, Snow White went inside. There she found a little table set with 7 plates, and 7 little beds were lined up against the wall. The hungry princess nibbled a bit of food from each plate, then threw herself down on the 7th bed and fell asleep. 7 dwarves shared this little cottage. Soon they came back from the gold and copper mines where they worked. How surprised they were to find Snow White sleeping in their home. They let the lovely girl sleep until the morning, and then asked her how she had found her way to their cottage, deep in the woods. When they heard Snow White's story, they felt sorry for her and asked her to stay. She took care of the cottage, and the dwarves gave her food, friendship, and shelter in return. Alright, so basically you're going to be our maid,
That's great. Okay.
and then you're going to stay here.
Okay. That's fine.
Cool. Snow White was happy living with the dwarves. But one day, back at the castle, the evil queen again asked, "Tyler Oakley on the wall, who is the fairest of us all?" And the mirror replied, "You, my queen, may lovely be, but Snow White is fairer still than thee." And then the queen knew Snow White was still alive. She decided to kill the girl herself. Huntsmen these days can't get anything done. Have to do everything yourself. The queen disguised herself as an ugly old woman and appeared at the dwarf's cottage. She called out, "Belts for sale! Buy my pretty belts!" Snow White saw no danger in opening the door to let in the disguised queen. Snow White tried on one of the lovely silk belts. The queen...
This is well-fitting. Very nice.
You'll soon find out how well-fitting it is. The queen pulled the belt so tight around the girl's waist that she fell down as if dead. When the dwarfs returned, they found Snow White lying on the floor. Right away, they saw that the belt was too tight and cut it off with a knife. She began to breathe again and told them what had happened. The dwarves realized that the old woman must have been the evil queen, and they warned Snow White to be very careful. Above all, she must not open the door to let in anyone. Meanwhile, At the castle, the queen asked once more, Tyler Oakley on the wall, who is the fairest of us all? When the mirror answered that Snow White was still the fairest, the queen shook with rage and vowed that Snow White must die. She must die! The evil queen set out for the cottage in a new disguise. This time, she offered to sell Snow White a lovely comb. Snow White took the comb through the window this time and put it in her hair.
Very nice.
She fell right where she stood because the comb was poisoned. Ha! The dwarves soon came home. They realized at once that the comb was poisoned and quickly removed it from Snow White's hair before it killed her. Back at the castle, the queen asked, yet again, Tyler Oakley on the wall, who's the fairest of us all? When she learned that the princess still lived, the queen used all her magic to make a single perfect poisoned
Apple.
apple.
Girl, you cry.
Shut up.
Still, you want to kill this harmless little girl.
She's more beautiful than me. That's not acceptable.
Greedy.
Hey, I have to be beautiful. I am beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
Whatever you say.
You said it yourself.
I'm the same, but still, Snow White's the more fierce than you.
I'm gonna break you.
You wouldn't dare.
Ha, just
You
wait.
need me.
Just you wait.
You need me.
The queen girl, then the queen, dressed herself as a poor woman and went once more to see Snow White. She offered the girl the apple,
Ooh. Very nice.
and Snow White could not resist it. Part of the apple's magic was that everyone who saw it must taste it. Snow White bit into the fruit, and she instantly fell down as if dead. When the queen returned to the castle, she asked the mirror once again, Tyler Oakley on the wall, who is the fairest of us all? The mirror told her at last, Queen, thou art fairest of us all. The dwarves could not wake Snow White, but she looked as healthy and as pretty as if she were comfortably sleeping. They laid her in a glass case so that they could watch over her. One day, a prince was hunting in the woods. He came upon Snow White lying in the glass case and thought she was the most beautiful princess he had ever seen. You're gorgeous. Oh my God. He fell in love with her right away. He believed that the glass box must be part of some evil enchantment. So he opened the case and lifted Snow White in his arms. As the prince picked up Snow White, the piece of poisoned apple fell from her mouth, and she woke from her sleep.
What?
Snow White slowly opened her eyes to find herself in the arms of a prince.
Hello.
Hey there. When the dwarves learned that Snow White was alive, they danced with joy and agreed happily that she should marry the prince. Where we getting married? As for the queen, her hatred made her so ugly she could no longer bear to look in the mirror. She finally smashed it in a fit of rage, so she never found out about Snow White's happiness.
Girl, you cray. Girl, you cray. Yes, my kingdom now. Yes. Yes. And they all lived happily ever after.
Except for the queen.
No one asked you. The end.